Welcome to Gospel Tangents, the best source for Mormon history, science, and theology. I'm Rick Bennett. The LDS Church recently announced seismic improvements to the Salt Lake Temple, in addition to the removal of some of those beautiful murals inside the historic building. Steve Pynakker is the evangelical host of Mormon Book Reviews, and he asked me my reaction to this news. To say I was disappointed is an understatement. Check out our conversation.
You know, it was interesting too. One of the things that I witnessed was this massive reconstructing of the temple where they're doing all this refurbishing. And I'm looking and it just seems like they're, as an outsider, based on what I'm seeing and some of the photographs people are taking, they're actually taking off some of the symbols that were on there. And it seems like it's kind of like a whitewashing.
On the outside?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you've been paying more attention than I have. I hope not.
Yeah, I just saw somebody pointed out that one of the symbols that was originally carved in there was taken out. They took a picture of that. And it just seems like they're really radically changing the Salt Lake Temple I guess, what are they trying to do? Modernize it for the 21st century?
I know to some degree they were trying to make it more earthquake proof, and I have no problem with that. But I'm appalled that we're getting rid of the beautiful murals that are inside. And they have a model. You can see, hopefully, well, they're redoing the whole temple square, but there used to be a model of the Salt Lake Temple where you could see, scale versions of those murals, and to have those removed is a travesty, in my opinion. So, President Nelson wants to make it efficient. There's more of this world, and everything needs to be efficient. And to lose the history and the symbols for the sake of efficiency, I think is a bad, terrible idea. But
well, I just remember when we were on that very first phone call, the news flashed right when it happened, and you were not a happy camper. I remember.
No. I've tried to be pretty low key about it, but yeah, I'm extremely bothered by it.
Well, and just as the historian,
the one thing that I will say, Manti, they want to do the same thing to the Manti Temple, because Manti is a pioneer temple as well. And the people, the thing that bothers me about Salt Lake, they did this without any input from the people. And then when they said we're going to do the same thing to Manti, the people in Manti were like, no. And they've already done this to the Logan Temple, and they've done it to the St. George Temple. It's like, no. Those were pioneer era temples. They need to be pioneer era temples. I'm so grateful for President Hinckley for rebuilding the Nauvoo Temple, but in my mind, I wish that they would have, the exterior looks the same, but the interior is completely different. In the original Nauvoo Temple, they had two ballrooms, essentially. They danced, like they literally held dances in the Nauvoo Temple, and now they've replaced it with endowment stuff, and that's great, that's fine. But the original Nauvoo Temple also had a weather vane on top of it, and instead of an upright Moroni, it was an angel with a flying angel with a trumpet, like in Revelations, and it would turn with the wind. I wish we had the flying angel on the temple, on the Nauvoo Temple, and President Hinckley said, well, I like the standing one better. And he's paying the money, so he gets to do his choice. But I wish that we had restored the Nauvoo Temple the way it was originally built. And there's also a big rumor, John Hamer tackled this more than 10 years ago, about the Kirtland Temple. And there's a lot of Mormons that go to the Kirtland, well, when are you going to sell this to us? And it really offends the community of Christ. I love that the community of Christ has maintained the Kirtland Temple as it was. And I wish Nauvoo had done the same thing. And I honestly don't want our church to buy the Kirtland Temple, even though a lot of Mormons like it, because I don't want them to tear out the inside. This is our history. This is a historic building. The Salt Lake Temple is historic. Manti is historic. We should not be gutting them like we did Logan and St. George and now Salt Lake. Salt Lake's such an iconic temple. It just bothers me that we're getting rid of the history. It's not. I know I'm not in charge, but I just wish that had not happened.
Yeah, I'm with you. I had the privilege to visit the Kirtland Temple and get the tour, and the Community of Christ just does such a fantastic job with everything. The tours, it was really cool. Like just even going to see where the School of the Prophets was, and up in the attic area there, where Sextus, the rabbi, was teaching them Hebrew, and just to kind of be in those places and spaces.
And that was a spiritual experience where they take you to the upper floor of the Kirtland Temple and they talk about it, and they learned Hebrew here. It was a house of learning. Like there's that scripture in the DNC that talks about a temple should be a house of learning. It was an actual school. Joseph had teachers come in and they held school there. There was no public school. And so it was a house of learning. It literally, that's what it did during the week. And I love that the Community of Christ has maintained that, and I wish we would do a better job of that instead of getting our history.
And one of the other things too is like they got rid of the Manti pageant and the Hill Cumorah pageants. Man, I really wish I would have had the opportunity to go to one of those.
I do too. We were hoping to go to Hill Cumorah this year, but it got canceled because of COVID, and so it's over. And I am lucky. My kids did go see the Manti pageant one time, and I'm not a camper, and we can't. I hated it, but you got to see the Manti pageant. You got to see those annoying evangelicals shouting at you, telling you you're going to hell.
Yeah, exactly.
And then having the Christ Church be like, hey, we'll argue with them so the Mormons can enjoy the pageant.
Yeah, you got your polygamous cousins doing all the heavy lifting,
doing all the dirty work. So
yeah, that has to be. And like I can only imagine the conversations they had. Well, the Adam God, they're like, yeah.
What's wrong with that?
They can't argue. So I think that's hilarious. And yeah, us evangelicals, I don't know why we just can't be more loving. I think it's just because we anybody that's slightly different than us, they view with suspicion, and you have all that nonsense going on. And it just, to me, it just doesn't look like anything Jesus would have done.
Right. I agree.
So that's my take on it. I know I'm going to get flack. As this channel grows, I'm going to start getting on the radars of some people who don't like what I'm doing, and I'm prepared for it because, like I said, I used to be a Calvinist, and I can handle them.
You know how to handle them.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and then one of the cool things that I think has been really awesome is that I've been able to meet so many great, interesting people. Obviously you, but then there's like somebody like Christopher Thomas, who wrote the Pentecostal Reads the Book of Mormon. Now I don't think you had ever heard of him, or you'd never met him before.
Exactly right.
And so probably next month you're going to be recording an interview with him.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do that. So yeah, he's coming out here. I'll have to email him on his plans again. We've kind of been touching base, but yeah, in September I'll definitely interview him. So, and I hadn't heard of him. You actually made me go listen to his interview on Mormon Stories, and so I got to know him there. So I'm not trying to talk too much trash about Mormon Stories, but that was a good interview. So with Christopher Thomas, and Christopher is a very fine evangelical gentleman that I will also call as a friend, and I love the interfaith relationships that you're trying to build, and I am too, among the polygamous crowd and the Community of Christ and the Bickertonites and Hedrickites and everything. So I wish this is what we need more of. We need less fighting and more bridge building. So,
well, and this is the thing too, I do an interview, and a gentleman who's a prominent individual in the independent branches movement in Independence, Missouri, is hosting a Book of Mormon rally on October 2nd in Independence, Missouri. And he's asked me to address the rally.
Really?
And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm in North Florida right now, and it's only like a 15-hour drive, Independence, Missouri. I thought, I'm going to hop in my car And I'm going to spend a
Wow.
long weekend there. I'm going to try to tour as many things as I can. I've been in touch with Lachlan McKay. By the way, Lachlan McKay, the historian for the Community of Christ. We plan on taping an interview in October. But I'd love to just maybe even get out to Nauvoo. I don't know, but I'm probably going to take a long weekend up there, and like little things like that, like out of the blue. Steve, I want to have you come and address my rally right on the camera. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. Like I thought about
Wow.
it for a few days, and I was like, yeah, this guy is a saint, the Patrick McKay. I love the guy so much. And like if he asks me to do something, I'm going to hop in my car and go to Independence for any reason.
Yeah, I need to get to know Patrick better. I've seen him on Facebook, but we haven't really communicated. So
yeah, he's a really cool dude, and just was actually, he called me up on a Saturday night and started telling me some spiritual experiences he had, and I'm sitting there like, I'm from a charismatic background. It's like, yeah, I've heard these stories before. This is all too familiar to me. He's talking my language, if you will. And so and he told me about Arlene Buffington, who would get these songs in her mind, and the dictation process that she used in doing it was very similar to the dictation process that Joseph Smith did for the Book of Mormon, because he even brought up to me the parallels, how very similar the dictation process went. Well, I went and visited Church of Jesus Christ, the Bickertonite organization, and it's a whole hymnal, hundreds of hymns in this thing, all written through this supernatural means. And it was one of the most amazing things I ever saw. And these people, they love those songs. It's the people were singing out of the hymnal, and they weren't even reading the words because they love those songs so much in their church. And just to go and visit a church and experience that, go to a Church of Jesus Christ and have people come up to me and say, we love what you're doing, Steve. We love your channel. So I have to say, the Church of Jesus Christ, like I'm down with you. I love you guys. I'll definitely be attending services infrequently at your church, and was invited to go speak at a rally in Fort Myers, Florida, a youth rally for the Church of Jesus Christ by one of their evangelists. No, to attend it, not to speak, but to attend. And I'm gonna do that too. So it's like so wild to just think like book review channel, and next thing you know, I'm addressing rallies and attending events.
yeah, I wish there was a Church of Jesus Christ in Utah. I'd like to attend. So
Yeah,
Florida's a little far away.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they have, and so I'm hoping to get to another congregation. This one's primarily African American, and so they're Book of Mormon believing African American Pentecostals, and I cannot wait to worship with them.
I think my wife would be like, "What is this?" I'd like to attend, though. I think it would be fun.
It would be
I'll
great.
have to get out to Florida. We'll go check out the
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got to figure out a way to find your way. Maybe
you guys got to work on your COVID, though. Holy cow!
Oh, I know. I know. It's so awful, dude. Here, and I'm back to it's Memorial Day. I quit wearing the mask, and then about 3 weeks ago, I started wearing my mask again.
Yeah, I'm wearing mine too.
It's just so sad. I'm wearing it almost just to send a message, hey, because the people who aren't wearing the masks are also not vaccinated. And I thought if you could at least try to create some peer pressure to do it. I don't believe in government mandates, but man, following the golden rule means you wear a mask.
Yeah.
So
I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Steve Pynakker, evangelical host of Mormon Book Reviews. Our next conversation with Steve will be our last, so be sure to sign up for our free newsletter at gospeltangents.com/newsletter so you can hear the final part of our conversation. We're going to talk about what Steve has planned next on his channel at Mormon Book Reviews.
Season 2, because I'm not at home, during the summer I spend my times up in northern Florida. But season 2, we're going to start taping in October, November. And I've already got quite a few books that I've already read that, of course, so I'm going to do those reviews. I'm going to re-engage Bushman's book because I want to do a review of his. So I'm doing a lot of new books as well. But I think either the very first episode or early on, my very first episode is going to be Mormonism and Battlestar Galactica.
Nice.
If you'd like to hear the entire interview uncut, please subscribe for just $5 a month at patreon.com/gospeltangents, and you can hear the entire interview before everybody else. If you'd like to watch the entire video for just $8 a month, you can either subscribe on YouTube, Patreon, or my website, gospeltangents.com. Just click the yellow subscribe button, and I'll add you to our Gospel Tangents Insiders group so that you can see entire videos. For those interested in a PDF transcript, you can subscribe at either Patreon or on my website. For just $10 a month, I'll send you a PDF as soon as it's complete. If you'd like a copy of the paperback as well as a PDF, just sign up for $20 a month at either Patreon or my website, gospeltangents.com. Of course, you can buy individual transcripts at Amazon.com and just do a search for Gospel Tangents Interview, and you can see all the things that we have there. Don't forget to support Gospel Tangents with an awesome t-shirt like one of these. You can subscribe at Apple Podcasts at tinyurl.com/gospeltangents. Get our latest updates at facebook.com/gospeltangents. Also, you can get our Twitter updates at Gospel Tangents. Click here to subscribe, here for a transcript, and over here we've got more of our great videos. Thanks again.